and Isaiah. You are going to have this course with me today for the last time before your exams tomorrow. So before now, we have looked at what is project leadership. We've actually looked also at what is stakeholder and some stakeholders theories. Last week, we looked at leadership, project as the art or science of steering a team towards the successful delivery of projects. We looked at who is a leader, who is a project leader. We also looked at the leadership theories or approaches to leadership when it comes to projects, of which we pointed out the threat theories, situational theories, and behavioral theories. We also look at the stakeholder itself. We look at who is a stakeholder, and we all agreed that stakeholders are both internal and external. We look at the internal stakeholders as those who have a direct relationship to the project. They may be the people who are workers, employees, those who are sourcing the project, and so on. External, we also talked about external stakeholders as people who have indirect effects or influence to the project. Okay, we still look at the leadership, stakeholder theories, where we talked about the six principles of stakeholder theories, which is the principles of entry and exit, principles of governance, principles of externalities, principles of contract cost, and so on. So today we have this class as form of revision and then touch out places that are key to the outline where we'll wrap it up for your exams. So there's one particular thing we stopped at, a topic, which is the essential project leadership skills, of which communication is one of them. One of the leadership skills is communication. Communication is a very broad topic, of which communication in a general note, it's all about the transmission, passing on of information from one person to another through a particular channel or medium. Yeah. And then when you look at communication, relating it to projects, there are those skills that are core in project management. Okay. Yeah. In communication, in project management, communication is very, very important for the leaders of projects because so much of what the project leader have to do involves with others. So if the project leader doesn't communicate to others, there will be no much results or achievements in terms of the project. So communication is a very important skill, and every project leader must be conversant with the elements of communication. Because if you're familiar with the elements of communication as a project leader, you will definitely have a good mastery of communication. Those elements like you're the sender, you know who is the sender, how encoding process starts, the source of information, the transmission there is also the work of the sender. Who is your receiver? Who is the person that you are going to communicate to? The person at the receiving end of this message or communication. Then you look at also the channel. What is the proper channel through which you will communicate to the people you lead and so on? So you also have some elements of communication like the context. That is the situation that calls for communication. Every communication takes place in a situation. So you also, as a leader in project, when it comes to communication, should also look at the message. What kind of message do you want to pass to your associate or the people you lead? Because message is very important. We have message that can give you a positive or negative feedback. So message is important and so on. So we leave this to other um, essential project leadership skills like team leadership. Like team leadership, the leader must inspire people around him. Okay, he should be someone with excellent project leadership skills that has to carry everyone along. So there must be a team cooperation when it comes to leadership in projects. A leader is also someone who has to know about conflict resolution. In every project environment, there tends to be different interests, conflicting interests, because we have both internal and external stakeholders in any project. So you as a leader in a project must know how to resolve issues as they emanate. A leader in projects must be also conversant um, motivation. How do you they motivate others to take actions, even when they are not officially in charge? Okay. So as a project leader, you work out what makes the other people on the team feel like they are making their best contribution, and you will do your best to give them that. Yes, you have to know how to motivate the other team members. A good project leader must also know how to craft solutions. You must know how to craft solutions. Yeah. So, because part of creating a positive working culture is empowering the team and the wider stakeholder community together involved in crafting solution. Yes. So that means that like removing roadblocks, so each team member can complete their tasks and input creative ideas without having to worry that something is in their way. So, as a team leader, you must empower your teammates or the people you lead or other stakeholders to push their decisions down the hierarchy, okay, to the lowest possible level. Yes, you should allow others to contribute. That is all about that. And we leave this quickly. We will leave this quickly to uh, another important topic in this course. That is emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence. Okay, fine. Emotional intelligence is not a new concept. This is all about psychology. Okay, and how can one develop emotional intelligence? How can one develop emotional intelligence as a leader? Okay, sorry for the break in the transmission. Let's quickly move to the emotional intelligence. What is emotional intelligence? What is it all about? What is emotional intelligence? Emotional intelligence is just the ability for the leader to have the ability to recognize practice in terms of project management, okay? For the leader to have the ability to recognize, understand, and manage one's own emotions as well as the emotions of others. Yes, because I have told you that in every project environment, there is always a different interest, and the leader has to manage his own interests alongside the interests of others. So it is a crucial quality for effective leadership. So as a leader of a project, you need to be able to manage the people you lead, their own emotions, and empathize with the emotions of the team members. So the concept of emotional intelligence was actually introduced by a psychologist called Peter Salovey and John Mayer in the 1990s, and it has since become widely recognized as an essential quality for effective leadership. So, emotional intelligence on the leadership aspect consists of four major components. It consists of four major components, okay? And one of the components is self-awareness. The other one is self-regulation, followed by social awareness, and then relationship management. So, what is self-awareness in emotional intelligence? It's just the ability to recognize and understand one's own emotions, strengths, weaknesses, and the values. Weaknesses and the values. So, for you as a leader, you must be self-aware. You must have that ability to recognize and understand your own emotions first, and then even the others, others' emotions, their strengths and their weaknesses. So also the other one of the four components of emotional intelligence is the self-regulation. Self-regulation simply is the ability to manage one own emotions, thoughts, and behaviors in the way that is constructive and aligned with one's goal. So you should be able to regulate one's emotion or manage one's emotion, thoughts, and behavior to work in line with the project goal. Then we have the other component, which is social awareness, which is the social awareness. Social awareness here is just the ability to recognize and understand the emotions and needs of others, and also to empathize with the uh, the perspectives, their perspectives. So for you as a leader, you must be conscious of the social awareness to be able to recognize when people, to recognize people's emotions, to know when they need something at a particular point in time. All right. Because when someone is in need of something at a point when project is going on, and that need is superseding the project goal, the person will not function. So you as a leader should be always very aware to take care of that aspect so that at the end, everybody will focus towards the goal. Then the last one is relationship management. That's the ability to build strong relationships, communicate effectively, and manage conflict. In a project environment, there are varieties of challenges and all that. So when you see such, you see that maintaining managed relationship is very important. So building the strong communication, building strong relationships help to manage different conflicts. So let's quickly go at the importance of emotional intelligence. One of I'll just quickly rush through that. It helps in importance of emotional intelligence. That it helps in effective communication. It helps to build relationships. It helps in decision making. It helps in motivation and inspiring of the team members. It also helps in the conflict management. And when it comes to the issue of uh, how you can develop your emotional intelligence, because some people actually don't understand their emotional intelligence. When you find yourself as a leader, when you find yourself as a project leader, or even as a team member, you have to first know how to manage your emotions. And then, if you don't know, you have to learn. It's all about developing it. So, how can you develop your emotional intelligence? First, you have to be self aware of things about you, self aware of other people, how they relate with you, how you can effectively communicate with them, how you can. So, self awareness is very important. So empathy is another one. You must have empathy to be able to understand an emotional intelligence of yourself and others. Emotional regulations is also very, very important, okay, in how to develop how to develop your how you can develop your emotional intelligence. So and so on, as you see on the screen. So I would like to quickly move to the concept of Okay, because of time, because of time, I earlier said in this course that tomorrow you are going to take your exams, and just know that your exams is going to be a multi-choice questions that you objectives, so to say. So you have to ensure that you check the time of the exam tomorrow and make sure you write your exam. So for the sake of the exam, I would like to randomly move through the revision so that everybody, even if you have not attended the very first class, because of time, I'm just trying to meet up with time so that nobody is going to be left out since today is the last day. So as we started this course from what is project leadership. What is project leadership? So we started it from project leadership. So, we define project leadership as the art and science of steering a team towards the successful delivery of a project. Yeah. So, this is just the general revision. So, even if our time is cut off because we have just 10 minutes before or 15 minutes or thereabout, I think it's not up to 15. So, we have to be a bit faster. So, take the revision so that you can be able to go through on your own. So we started with project leadership. So you read about the project leadership. Make sure that you look at the leadership theories and the leadership approaches, of which we captured the major three here, which is the threat theories, the behavioral theories, and situational theories. Ensure that you go through all of them. So we also look at the other one, which is the stakeholder management. Who are the stakeholders? We've been able to talk about the stakeholders. Who are they? And some we also talk about the internal and externals. Some are the ones who sponsor the project, and I mentioned earlier the other lecture that those who sponsor any project proper hand in the scope, the project goals, okay, and they define the scope. Yeah, those who sponsor project define the scope. That is the stakeholders that have the major share, especially those who sponsor financially. Define and the ultimate project success of any project is their satisfaction. Yes, and the another one is also about the stakeholders. You should know is that the essence of the relationship related in the relationship in organization, okay, has to do with a project leader transcending his professional boundaries to beyond the project, because there's something a leader cannot maintain relationship with stakeholders only during the project. This stakeholders relationship must be a long-term relationship. It can still extend beyond the project time. So it's very, very correct if the leader of a project or a project leader extend relationship beyond the scope or the time frame of a project. Because after a project, those stakeholders can still preserve, protect your project. Come to think of carrying out a project in a rural area whereby you have not harmonized the relationship or communication with the stakeholders in the village, and at the end you finish this project and you move out of the village. These are the there are some stakeholders there who will do the role of protecting your project. Yes. So this relationship has to do with a long purpose. So another one is you should know also about the project is that the there is what we call the outer ring of relationship in projects. Okay, and this outer ring is kind of having the network of relationship of project managers. Okay, that includes contractors. Okay, other organizations and maybe some customers. Yes, that is what is called the outer ring. So the communication and the maintenance of the relationship in the project uh, work has to do with sustenance of relationship of the with the outer ring, which I mentioned, the contractors, the other organizations might be part of the project, and then the customers or whoever involved. So, and part of leadership. I remember I said I'm going to randomly give a kind of area you understand and point to take home. Okay. So another part of it is that in leadership, like I've mentioned the types of leadership in this course, we saw some types of leadership that we have autocratic leadership, and I told you some leadership styles that I told you the other time. That is not actually all these leadership styles that works in every situation. People believe the other time, I said it the other time, that autocratic leadership is not supposed to be used in a project leadership. There are some projects that doesn't is subtle decision. I mean subtle leadership formats. No, there are some projects that need autocratic. It's just like people in the war zone and military environment, and you allow someone to lead the team without being autocratic. You must be autocratic in a war based on. Yeah, because carrying out a war is also a project. There are stakeholders and there are leaders in the project. So in such a situation, you must be autocratic. Not just war. There are some projects that at a point and a situation in time, you need to be autocratic to take care of that. So in a nutshell, control, I mean, is part of it, okay, which makes it autocratic. Then another best way, because one can ask, what is now the best leadership format for carrying out a project? The best leadership format to carrying out a project depends on the situation, but one of the best to follow is making sure that you get others to follow. Okay, you get others to follow. That is one best way. Team communication is one of the most effective. And then another thing you should look at is the Okay, so I was actually talking about the best leadership strategy for project work. So, and I mentioned that you must get others to follow. Okay, that is to say, charismatic form of leadership is actually the best, even though each and every one of the different leadership uh, types of leadership come depending on the situation. So, another important point to take away is also about the leadership threat or theory, sorry, the leadership theory. In the terms of leadership theory, one can ask that what is the best approach to study leadership? Okay, the best approach to study leadership is actually that one that emphasizes on personality of the leader. Personality of the leader matters a lot. So that is that should be that of threat theories. So threat theories is one of the best projects. I mean, called leadership theory to follow when you want to learn leadership or to improve on your leadership. And we also have to check the part of the leadership styles. So one can also ask about the importance of leadership styles. What are the importance? I've emphasized on that. A leader will also the one of the importance is that a leader make changes. Okay, leader make changes. For you to make changes, you must have to know the best leadership approach. So for a change in project, a leader has to initiate the changes, and because of a leader having knowledge of styles of leadership from the leadership theories, one can make a better change when the situation occurs, and so on. So I think at this point in time, we will be calling it a wrap up for the course. I wish you all the best and the success in your exams tomorrow. Thank you and God bless you.